Welcome to Earth and Kind Quests. My name is Mike. In this episode of Nemesis Battles, two heroic adventurers find themselves inside a living environment. Or maybe it is an undead environment. A life domain cleric and a champion fighter are at level 9, using the rules in the 2024 Player's Handbook of Dungeons & Dragons. They investigate a mysterious place, and the place itself happens to be sentient and hostile. This dangerous place uses the statistics of a haunting revenant, presented as a challenge rating 10 creature in the 2025 Monster Manual, but it is modified here with a different kind of appearance and with legendary features. As with all of these videos, you can enjoy without any prior knowledge or investment. I will clarify what happens with the game mechanics and the story narrative while demonstrating in the 3D world builder and virtual tabletop system of RPG stories. For extra details about the characters, in the video text description, you can find the web links for the character sheets in D&D Beyond. You will notice that the two characters in this episode are suboptimal. This part is intentional as a way to appreciate what these characters are capable of doing. The Gold Dragonborn Life Domain Cleric is named Varian Vitalimar. His major powers are about healing and preserving life. The Human Champion Fighter is named Percy Jones. He prefers to engage in strength-based melee combat using his trident and his shield in combination with special feats and weapon masteries. Some time ago, the champion fighter Percy Jones escaped from a group of ferocious chimeras and griffons. He learned only later that he escaped because of a helpful distraction by the life cleric Varian Vitalimar. Later, the two characters met, and they agreed that they could work together as a team, exploring through the realms and defending against problems with runaway monstrosities, magical anomalies, and other potential threats. Currently, most people in these realms are concerned about a fiendish purple worm rampaging across the earth. This purple worm is different from others. It is far more powerful, and it appears to be growing stronger. The Worm of Doom can appear in any place and at any time. It brings total devastation, and then it burrows into the earth again to find its next place to destroy. The worm appears to be unstoppable. The life cleric Varian Vitalimar and the champion fighter Percy Jones are not the only people who chase after the Worm of Doom or try to learn more about it. Today, though, they are in a unique situation of arriving at the scene of where the Worm of Doom attacked, while the worm's burrowing tunnel still is open. Normally, the tunnel would collapse. This particular case is unusual, providing enough of a crawling space among the debris for someone to enter and to investigate. The cleric and the fighter work their way through the debris. They find that indeed they can follow through the burrowing tunnel of the gargantuan worm. In one area, illumination comes from rock crystals of different colors. Before proceeding into potential danger, the life cleric Varian Vitalimar casts the spell Aid, upcasting with a 4th level spell slot. The Aid spell could affect up to 3 targets, but right now the Aid spell affects the fighter and the cleric. With the 4th level upcasting, during the next 8 hours, the two characters increase their hit point maximum by 15, and they gain 15 hit points to match with the increased amount. The two characters find that the burrowing tunnel of the worm intersected with something else here. The worm burrowed along one route while exposing another passage and leaving it otherwise untouched. This other passage already was here, perhaps long ago, constructed in a giant-sized architectural style. Inside this older passage, the glowing rock crystals appear to be organized in deliberate patterns. Skeletal remains are scattered on the floor, hinting at the dangers that people met here in the past. At this point, the life cleric Varian Vitalimar uses the study action to investigate the possible magical or arcane associations of this place. He rolls an Arcana skill check. With a result of 18, the cleric notices that the rock crystals are arranged in clusters or groupings as parts of larger patterns. The life cleric Varian Vitalimar recognizes something about the patterning that could relate to a draconic association. The cleric happens to be a Gold Dragonborn, and he personally feels intrigued by the possible history of this place. If he will want to learn more, then probably he should examine the larger patterns of the rock crystals. The crystals extend throughout this corridor. At the far end of the corridor, a doorway could lead into another area with more of the crystals. The cleric and the fighter move through this unusual environment. The giant-sized construction is much larger than expected in an ordinary place. The two adventurers approach the door. Before they can attempt to search or study, they hear whispers flowing through the air. An ancient presence is here. The door opens. The floating whispers form into a coherent voice. The voice invites the adventurers to enter. The cleric and the fighter are not yet aware of the details, but this place is sentient. It is an undead creature, known as a haunting revenant, described as a challenge rating 10 creature in the 2025 Monster Manual. This particular haunting revenant happens to be a legendary creature. It is equipped with 3 legendary resistances, allowing to fail a saving throw and decide to succeed instead. It is equipped with 3 legendary actions, allowing to make a special action after another creature ends its turn. I will describe the details whenever they will become relevant. For now, the cleric and the fighter know that something is wrong here. The cleric can sense an undead quality. Whatever this presence might be, the two adventurers are suspicious about it, and they prepare for combat. All of the participants roll for initiative. The cleric rolls 16. The fighter rolls with advantage as part of his remarkable athlete feature, resulting in 6. The haunting revenant rolls 22. The haunting revenant will act first, followed by the life domain cleric and then the champion fighter. In round 1, the haunting revenant repeats its words, encouraging for the two adventurers to enter into the interior space. The voice in the air condenses with the gravity of authority. The cleric and the fighter know that they should try to resist the invitation. They roll charisma saving throws. The cleric rolls 19 and succeeds. The fighter rolls 6 and could fail. He re-rolls with his indomitable feature, adding a bonus equal to his fighter level. With a result of 28, he succeeds. The cleric and the fighter both stand firmly in their positions. Now the haunting revenant animates 2 piles of rubble debris. It makes 2 attacks with his object slam. The first attack aims at the life cleric. The attack rolls 24, hitting against the armor class of 16. The slam causes 26 points of bludgeoning damage. The second attack aims at the champion fighter. The attack rolls 17, missing against the armor class of 21. At this point, the cleric and the fighter understand that they are facing an especially powerful foe. They suspect that the presence here could be a legendary creature. The life domain cleric, Varian Vitalimar, considers how best to defend against this potentially deadly adversary. With his action, he casts the spell Bless, using a first-level spell slot. The spell could target up to 3 creatures, but right now the cleric chooses only the fighter and himself. During the next 1 minute, the cleric can concentrate on the divine blessing. While the concentration continues, the fighter and the cleric are blessed. They can add a bonus of 1d4 to all of their attack rolls and saving throws. After the cleric ends his turn, then the haunting revenant can make a legendary action. It chooses the option of tumbling debris, causing rubble to fill a space of 5 feet. The cleric is within this space, so he rolls a dexterity saving throw to try to avoid the debris. With the plus 1d4 of the blessed spell, the result is 6. He suffers the full amount of 10 bludgeoning damage. The 5-foot space now is considered to be difficult terrain. With the incoming damage, the life cleric could lose his concentration on the spell of Bless. He rolls a constitution saving throw. The result is 11. The cleric maintains the concentration. The spell continues. Now the life cleric retains 45 of his total 81 hit points, including the extra 15 in the hit point maximum due to the upcasting of the aid spell. The cleric warns his ally that this entire structure appears to be possessed by an undead spirit. The champion fighter, Percy Jones, understands that this unusual enemy cannot be affected by some of his usual combat features. For instance, the structure of the haunting revenant is immune to being pushed, grappled, restrained, or toppled down into the prone condition. Nonetheless, this opponent can be damaged. Percy Jones charges up the stairs and toward the doorway. He does not enter through the doorway. Rather, he uses the attack action to make 2 attacks with his trident. The first attack roll is 18, but Percy Jones can add 1d4 with a blessed spell for a total of 22, hitting against the armor class of 20. The second attack roll is a natural 19 on the d20, scoring a critical hit with the champion's extended critical hit range. The first hit is a regular hit, but it includes an extra 1d8 with the charger feat of charging at least 10 feet toward the target, producing a total of 11 piercing damage. The second hit is the critical hit. The damage dice are doubled, plus the piercer feat adds an extra 1d8. Additionally, with the piercer feat, Percy Jones can re-roll 1 damage die once during each turn, changing 1 low roll into a slightly higher roll. In total, the critical hit causes 21 piercing damage. The topple weapon mastery of the trident is ineffective against this opponent. Percy Jones can use his Tactical Master feature to apply a different weapon mastery, choosing from a few options of push, sap, or slow. The only option that can work in this case is the sap weapon mastery, imposing disadvantage on the target's next attack roll. The fighter's shield master feat ordinarily could be used for trying to push an opponent or to knock it down prone, but the structure of the Haunting Revenant cannot be affected in this way. The haunted structure reacts to the onslaught of damage. Whatever spirit is inside here, the damage does appear to be affecting it. The Haunted Revenant retains 171 of its total 203 hit points. The champion fighter, Percy Jones, decides to use his action surge. He gains a second action during his turn that he can use for a few options. Of course, he chooses the attack action. He makes another 2 attacks with the trident. The first attack roll is a natural 19 for another critical hit with the champion's extended critical hit range. The second attack is a natural 19 again. I am using the automated dice roller here, and I cannot control these outcomes. For the 2 critical hits, the damage dice are doubled, and both critical hits add an extra die 8 of the Piercer feat. In total, the champion fighter inflicts 45 points of piercing damage. The Charger feat already was applied earlier. It cannot be applied more than once during a single turn. Similarly, the Sap Weapon Mastery already was applied for disadvantage on the target's next attack roll. The fighter cannot access any other option of an effective weapon mastery at this time. Now that the fighter has used his action surge, then he cannot use it again until he can complete a short rest or a long rest. Meanwhile, the Haunting Revenant already is reduced down to 126 of his total 203 hit points. After the fighter ends his turn, then the Haunting Revenant makes a legendary action. The entity creates Haunting Whispers, targeting the fighter. Percy Jones rolls a Wisdom saving throw. With the 1d4 bonus of the Blessed spell, the result is 16, indicating a failure. The Haunting Whispers cause the champion fighter to remember the regrets of his troubled life history. The emotional anguish causes 7 psychic damage. The mental distraction reduces the fighter's speed by half until the end of his next turn. In round 2, the Haunting Revenant releases another commanding voice, inviting the adventurers to enter into the haunted space. The cleric and the fighter roll wisdom saving throws to try to resist the invitation. The cleric rolls 16, and the bonus 1d4 of the bless spell brings the total up to 20 for a success. The fighter rolls 15, and the 1d4 of the bless brings the total up to 16, not enough to succeed in this case. The cleric rejects the invitation, while the fighter cannot resist the commanding authority of the Haunting Revenant. The champion fighter is teleported into the interior space of the haunted structure. Technically, the champion is swallowed, and he is behind total cover. He cannot be targeted or affected by anything from the exterior. Not even the cleric's healing spells can reach to the fighter at the interior. I interpret that the fighter is enshrouded by the haunting whispers of the revenant entity, rendering him not targetable by anything from the exterior of the structure. The fighter cannot escape from this place unless somehow he can access interdimensional travel, such as with a plane shift spell. Meanwhile, the Haunting Revenant makes attack rolls with advantage against the fighter. I interpret that the fighter is distracted and disoriented within this haunted zone, with growing anxiety about being trapped inside here. Now the Haunting Revenant mobilizes piles of debris to make 2 object slam attacks at the champion fighter. The fighter previously applied the Sap Weapon Mastery, imposing disadvantage on the Revenant's next attack roll. The disadvantage is cancelled by the advantage of the haunted interior space. The first attack roll is 16, missing against the armor class of 21. The second attack roll is with advantage, resulting in 26 and hitting the fighter. The object slam causes 23 points of bludgeoning damage. The Life Domain Cleric, Varian Vitalimar, starts his turn with 45 of his total 81 hit points, including the increased maximum with the Aid spell. Varian Vitalimar can recognize that the champion fighter is swallowed inside the haunted zone. While standing at the exterior of the structure, the cleric cannot do anything that can target or affect the fighter inside the interior space. The cleric understands that the haunting entity wants to bring people into the haunted area where they can be exposed to more danger. The cleric stays outside this space. The interior haunted zone could cause problems with spellcasting. If the cleric will try to enter into there and cast a spell inside there, then the spell could be blocked. The cleric would need to succeed with a difficult Constitution saving throw, or else the action and the spellcasting resource will be lost. The cleric therefore stays at the exterior of this space. The cleric suspects that the undead spirit of this place could be limited with the range of its attacks and special features reaching into the exterior space. With his bonus action, Varian Vitalimar casts Misty Step without using a spell slot, instead using his Fey-touched feat. He teleports 30 feet away from the door. The cleric continues to move away from the door with his regular walking speed of 30 feet. At this distance, the cleric uses his action to cast Guiding Bolt, upcasting with a 4th level spell slot. He sends a bolt of radiance at the haunted structure. The cleric is well within the spell's range of 120 feet. The attack roll is 23, hitting against the armor class of 20. With the 4th level upcasting, the Guiding Bolt generates 31 points of radiant damage. The next attack roll against this target will be with advantage. Varian Vitalimar hears unsettling sounds like dragging of feet farther down the burrowing tunnel where he and the fighter neglected to search earlier. 3 creatures approach. They are ghouls, represented as challenge rating 1 creatures in the 2025 Monster Manual. The ghouls cannot yet see the cleric around the corner, and the cleric cannot yet see them either. They will enter into the initiative count at the start of the next round of the combat. After the cleric ends his turn, then the Haunting Revenant makes a legendary action. As the cleric expected, he is outside the range of this entity's powers. It can reach out only as far as 60 feet. In this case, the Haunting Revenant chooses the legendary action of the Tumbling Debris, targeting the fighter in the interior space. Percy Jones rolls a dexterity saving throw. The result of 19 is a success without needing the extra 1d4 of the cleric's Bless spell. Furthermore, with the Shield Master feat, Percy Jones uses his reaction to interpose his shield between himself and the tumbling debris. He deflects all of the possible damage. Nonetheless, the 5-foot area where he stands now becomes difficult terrain. The champion fighter, Percy Jones, starts his turn with 79 of his total 109 hit points, including the extra hit point maximum with the cleric's aid spell. The fighter feels uneasy and anxious while he is trapped inside the haunted zone. Furthermore, his speed has been halved by the legendary action of the Haunting Whispers. He stands within a 5-foot area of rubble debris that is difficult terrain, requiring 10 feet of his movement to walk through it. Percy Jones finds some comfort, though, when he recognizes that the cleric's Bless spell still does apply to him. With his bonus action, the champion fighter uses his Second Wind feature. He regains 10 hit points. As part of the Second Wind feature, the fighter can use the Tactical Shift option to move up to half of his speed without provoking opportunity attacks. He uses this extra bonus speed along with his remaining movement to step out from the difficult terrain of the debris and to charge toward the nearest structural column. With his action, the fighter makes 2 attacks using his trident. The first attack roll is with advantage due to the cleric's prior Guiding Bolt attack. The advantage attack roll is another natural 19, scoring a critical hit with the champion's extended critical hit range. The second attack roll is 15, missing against the armor class of 20. The extra 1d4 of the Bless spell cannot bring the total up high enough against the armor class of 20. The critical hit generates double of the damage dice for the trident attack, double for the charger feat, and an extra 1d8 of the piercer feat for a total of 37 piercing damage. Once again, the fighter exercises his Tactical Master feature to apply the Sap Weapon Mastery, imposing disadvantage on the target's next attack roll. The Haunting Revenant now retains only 58 of his total 203 hit points. Distorted whispers flow through the area, signaling that the undead spirit may not be able to stay here for much longer. At the end of his turn, Percy Jones no longer is affected by the legendary action of the Haunting Whispers. He regains his full speed. After the fighter ends his turn, then the Haunting Revenant makes another legendary action. Now it chooses the option of the Haunting Whispers, targeting the fighter once more. Percy Jones rolls a Wisdom saving throw. A result of 11 fails. The fighter tries with adding the 1d4 of the Bless spell for a total of 12, still a failure. Percy Jones relapses with the spiraling thoughts of the regrets about all of the poor decisions in his life up to this point. He suffers 8 psychic damage. The mental distraction reduces his movement speed by half until the end of his next turn. In round 3, the 3 approaching ghouls roll into the initiative. They roll 16, 10, and 6. For simplicity, they all will act together using the median initiative roll of 10. The Haunting Revenant will act first, followed by the cleric, and then the 3 ghouls together, and lastly the fighter. I am interpreting that the Haunting Revenant will not use the legendary actions after the ghouls unless the ghouls will engage against the Haunting Revenant. The Haunting Revenant starts his turn with 58 of his total 203 hit points. Technically, it is in the bloodied condition, meaning that it retains half or fewer of its hit point maximum. The cleric and the fighter can notice that the undead presence appears to be wavering and unstable within the damaged structure. Continued damage probably will drive away the spirit that is haunting this place. Once again, the haunting entity reaches out with the invitation feature, encouraging the life cleric to enter into the haunted zone. However, the invitation is effective only within a 60-foot cone. The cleric is just outside this range. Varian Vitalimar hears the tempting words of the invitation, but he declines the offer. The ghouls are even farther away and they are unaffected. The champion fighter already was affected by the invitation earlier, and he is trapped inside the haunted zone. The haunting revenant concentrates its attention on the champion fighter, Percy Jones. The undead spirit animates piles of rubble debris. It makes 2 attacks of the object slam. The first attack roll is with disadvantage due to the sap weapon mastery applied by the fighter earlier, effectively cancelling against the advantage of attacking the fighter trapped inside the haunted zone. The regular attack roll is a natural 20, scoring a critical hit. The second attack roll with advantage is 18, missing against the armor class of 21. For the critical hit, the damage dice are doubled. The critical hit of the object slam inflicts 47 points of bludgeoning damage. The champion fighter, Percy Jones, now stands with 34 of his total 109 hit points. The life cleric, Varian Vitalimar, considers to cast the spell Banishment on the haunting entity. He knows, however, that the legendary creature could use a legendary resistance automatically to succeed with the saving throw. Varian Vitalimar uses his action to cast another Guiding Bolt, again upcasting with a 4th level spell slot. The attack roll is 26, hitting against the armor class of 20. The 4th level upcasting produces 21 radiant damage. The next attack roll against this target will be with advantage. The haunting spirit groans and tries to steady itself, now retaining only 37 of his total 203 hit points. Soon the haunting revenant could be driven away. Varian Vitalimar uses his bonus action to start his draconic flight, available once per long rest as a dragonborn. During the next 10 minutes, he can fly with a speed equal to his walking speed of 30 feet. He flies 15 feet upward as a general precaution against whatever might be coming around the corner soon. After the cleric ends his turn, then the haunting revenant can make a legendary action. It animates some of the crumbling debris around the structure, and it creates a tumbling debris effect, tumbling down into the space of the champion fighter. Percy Jones rolls a dexterity saving throw. He rolls 15. He adds 1 die 4 of the cleric's blessed spell for a total of 17, indicating his success. Once again, the champion fighter uses his reaction with his shield master feat to block the tumbling debris. He suffers 0 damage. The area where he stands becomes difficult terrain. The 3 ghouls stride toward the flying cleric. Ordinarily, they would use their bite or claw attacks, but the cleric is outside their reach. I am interpreting that the ghouls can throw rocks at the cleric, making 2 attacks each. The 6 attack rolls are 20, 23, 23, 12, 10, and 16. 4 of these 6 rocks hit against the armor class of 16. In total, the 4 hits produce 16 points of bludgeoning damage. Varian Vitalimar retains 29 of his current hit point maximum of 81. The cleric is fortunate to be outside the range of the more serious bite and claw attacks of the ghouls. With each instance of damage, though, Varian Vitalimar needs to roll a Constitution saving throw for concentrating on the spell of Bless. He rolls 14, 14, 19, and 15. The cleric continues to concentrate on the Bless spell. The champion fighter, Percy Jones, starts his turn with 34 of his total 109 hit points. He can move at only half of his speed due to the effects of the Haunting Whispers legendary action, lasting until the end of his current turn. He stands within a 5-foot area of rubble debris that is difficult terrain, requiring 10 feet of his movement to walk through it. Percy Jones uses his bonus action with the second wind feature. He regains 13 hit points. As part of this second wind feature, he uses the tactical shift option to move up to half of his speed without provoking opportunity attacks. The extra amount of movement is enough for the champion fighter to step out from the difficult terrain and to charge forward 10 feet with his charger feat. He makes the attack action, attacking twice with his trident. The first attack is with advantage due to the cleric's prior guiding bolt. The advantage attack roll is a natural 20, scoring yet another critical hit. The second attack roll is 15, but Percy Jones uses his heroic inspiration as a human to reroll, resulting in 25, more than sufficient to hit against the armor class of 20 without needing the 1 die 4 bonus of the Bless spell. The critical hit brings double of the damage dice for the trident, double of the extra 1 die 8 for the charger feat, plus 1 more die 8 of the piercer feat. The critical hit plus the other 1 regular hit in total produce 42 points of piercing damage. The Haunting Revenant is reduced to 0 hit points. The haunting voice gasps and fades away. The undead spirit has left this place. The ancient structure is damaged, but it remains reasonably intact, at least for now. Continued damage, though, will cause the entire place to collapse. In round 4, the Life Domain Cleric Varian Vitalimor uses his action with his Channel Divinity to turn undead within 30 feet. He produces a divine force that could drive away the ghouls. The ghouls roll wisdom saving throws to try to resist. They roll 9, 13, and 5. They all become overwhelmed by an urge to run away. Furthermore, they are seared by the radiance of the cleric's seer undead feature. The ghouls suffer 22 radiant damage. All 3 of the ghouls fall with 0 hit points. They burn away in the divine radiance. The Life Domain Cleric Varian Vitalimar and the champion fighter Percy Jones have won this battle. They proceed to study the structure that was haunted up until now. The cleric is familiar with the kind of haunting spirit that was here. He knows that the haunting revenant could come back, unless it will be eradicated with a powerful divine magic. The cleric casts Dispel Evil and Good, using his only 5th level spell slot. One of the options with this spell is to dismiss an unnatural creature, including an undead creature. The haunting revenant is dismissed. The spirit cannot come back to this place or to any other place. Without any time constraint, the Life Cleric and the Champion Fighter investigate and learn that this place is associated with an ancient form of magic that many people regard as forbidden. Specifically, the rock crystals could be used during an arcane ritual for transforming a dragon into an undead creature known as a Dracolich. As a gold dragonborn, Varian Vitalimar remembers the legends about how long ago an especially vile dragon cheated death and extended its life unnaturally while accepting the curse of becoming undead. This Dracolich gained ever-growing knowledge and power, and it claimed to be more powerful than the gods. Soon, other dragons were tempted to undergo the ritual process of transforming into an undead Dracolich. In this moment, Varian Vitalimar realizes that the numerous rock crystals here could create an intensely potent and dangerous Dracolich, or perhaps a Dracolich army. The champion fighter, Percy Jones, suggests that perhaps the powers of a Dracolich could be the way to protect the world against the rampaging Worm of Doom and against all of the other threats that seemingly arise again and again. The cleric cautions that once even a single Dracolich will enter into the world, then no mortal person could hope to control it. In his personal view, the gold dragonborn Varian Vitalimar regards a Dracolich as a bringer of death and defilement, as the antithesis of what a dragon should promote with the goodness of life, prosperity, and health. In this case, the champion fighter uses his trident to strike at the rock crystals. Immediately he learns that the rock crystals are immune to his efforts. The Life Cleric draws on his divine powers, and similarly he learns that the rock crystals are impervious to his magic. If these crystals could be destroyed, then the means to do so is beyond what the cleric and the fighter can manage at this time. Varian Vitalimar and Percy Jones agree that these dangerous rock crystals cannot be allowed to enter into the world. With enough time, they manage to collapse the burrowing tunnel of the worm. They vow never to reveal this location to anyone. The 2 characters proceed to explore in search of their next adventure. They are unaware that the disturbance of an ancient draconic power already has attracted attention. Some are tempted to control it or perhaps to set it free. Others are compelled to prevent such an outcome at any cost. Our story will continue with Nemesis Battles. For now, in the comment section, please share your ideas and suggestions about what could have happened differently and what could happen during other episodes. As always, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.